They genuinely cannot understand how somebody as fine as you is still single, okay? Like, feminine or masculine. Put it where it fits, but this person looks at you and sees somebody who is attractive, somebody who has things going for themselves, somebody who gets attention without even having to ask for it, and the fact that you are still not just giving your time, your body, your energy to anybody has them confused. And look at this, 8 of Wands. So symbolically, this is movement, messages, attraction picking up fast, thoughts moving fast, okay? And I feel like that is exactly what happens in this person's head when it comes to you. Their mind starts going. They're like, how are they single? Who are they talking to? Who's trying to get with them? Why haven't they chosen anybody? Because for some of you, this person really assumed you had options everywhere. And you probably do. That's the funny part. You may have people who flirt with you, people who watch you, people who try to get your attention, but you're not impressed just because somebody wants you. And this person is starting to realise that about you. They're realising you don't move fast just because attraction is there, and that's interesting because the 8 of Wands is fast energy. So this could actually symbolise somebody who's used to things happening quickly. They meet somebody, there's chemistry, things progress, boom, boom, boom. But with you? No, you're making this person slow all the way down. And I feel like they're not used to that. For some of you, they could be someone who's had casual relationships before. Maybe they date around, maybe they're used to being able to charm people pretty easily, okay? But you're giving them a completely different experience, because you could be attracted to them and still say, I'm not rushing this. And they're like, wow, that's what has them so intrigued. Because they know you're desirable, but you don't behave like you need to prove that you're desirable. There's a difference. And for some of you, this person has even wondered if you're secretly dealing with somebody because they're like, there is no way somebody like this is just sitting there single. They may check your social media. They may notice who comments, who likes your stuff, who keeps showing up around you. And every time they think they've figured you out, you become even more mysterious. But here's the part that's getting stronger. The more they realise you're not easy to access, the more serious their curiosity becomes. Because now this isn't just, I think they're hot. Now it's becoming, what would I actually have to do for this person to choose Emmy? And that's where this starts changing. Because look at this, 6 of Pentacles. So symbolically, this is reciprocity. Give and take. Effort being returned, okay? And I feel like this person is starting to understand that with you, attraction might get their attention on you. But attraction is not what keeps your attention. That's different. Because for some of you, this person is used to being able to come in with charm. Maybe they're attractive. Maybe they're successful themselves. Maybe they know how to flirt. They know how to create chemistry. They know how to make somebody feel wanted. And normally, that works. But with you, they're realising, okay, they know I want them. Now what? Because you being wanted is not new. That's the thing. You don't confuse somebody wanting access to you with somebody actually valuing you. And I think this person can feel that. They can feel that you're paying attention to whether somebody follows through, whether their words match their actions, whether they only show up when it's convenient, whether they're actually interested in knowing you, or if they're just interested in getting closer to you. 6 of Pentacles. What are you giving? What are you bringing? Is there balance here? And this doesn't mean you're sitting there testing this person, okay? I don't even feel like some of you are intentionally doing anything. You're just not overextending yourself. You're not giving somebody relationship level energy when they're giving you casual level effort. And whew, for some of you, that is what has this person thinking. Because maybe they're used to people becoming emotionally invested quickly. Maybe somebody usually starts chasing them, checking on them, making themselves available, trying to prove they like them. But you're not doing all that. You can like somebody and still observe them. You can be attracted and still say, let me see who you actually are. And now this person is realising they have to show you, not tell you, show you consistency, intentionality, patience, real effort, because they're starting to understand that you don't need somebody to impress you for one night. You want to know who they are repeatedly. And I feel like that might be the biggest adjustment for this person. They're no longer asking, how do I make them want me? Now they're asking, how do I show them I'm actually worth their time? And here's what might surprise you. Normally, somebody realizing you require that level of effort might decide it's too much. This person? They may actually be thinking about rising to it. And look at this, Knight of Wands. Now this is interesting, because symbolically, the Knight of Wands is somebody who wants to move, somebody who feels the attraction, feels the excitement, and normally, they want to go, okay? They don't necessarily want to sit there wondering. They want momentum. They want the text back. They want the date. They want to know you like them. They want to know where this is going. But with you, they're having to check themselves. Because I feel like this person is starting to understand that pushing you is probably the fastest way to make you pull back. And that's the part they're learning. Your pace is not rejection. Your boundaries are not you being cold. You're just selective. And for some of you, they may have genuinely had moments where they wanted to push things forward faster. Maybe they wanted to text you again immediately. Maybe they wanted more reassurance. Maybe they wanted to know, okay, are you feeling me or not? Because that Knight of Wands energy wants an answer. Now. But then they're like, wait, because they know there's something different here. They know that if they rush you just because they are excited, they could mess up something that actually has potential, and that realization is making them more patient than they expected to be. Which is kind of funny because this could be somebody who normally says, if it's complicated, I'm out. If somebody takes too long, I'm moving on. If I have to wonder, I don't have time for that. Okay. But apparently they have time for you. That's the difference. Because this doesn't feel like somebody deliberately withholding from them. It feels like somebody making sure they're real. And I think they respect that more than they expected to. They may even be catching themselves before they do something impulsive. Should I text again? Should I give them space? Am I moving too fast? Do they trust me yet? And notice what happened. This person went from wanting instant access to thinking about earning trust. That's a big shift. Because now patience is becoming part of the attraction. They're realizing that waiting does not necessarily mean they're losing you. It might actually be what gives them a real chance with you. And for some of you, that's when another thought starts creeping in. Because the longer they watch how selective you are, the less they believe you're single, because nobody has offered you anything. No. They're starting to think you've been offered things. You've just been saying no. And look at this, 7 of Cups reversed. Okay, this makes sense. Because symbolically, the 7 of Cups can be options. Choices, different possibilities. People looking at what's available and trying to figure out what they actually want. But reversed, there's clarity coming in. And I feel like this person is finally understanding something about you. You weren't single because nobody wanted you. You were single because wanting you wasn't enough. That's the difference. For some of you, this person is starting to realize you probably have entertained possibilities before. You've probably met attractive people, successful people, interesting people, people who looked good on paper, and you still said no. Or maybe you gave something a chance, saw what it actually was, and decided, yeah, this isn't for me. And that's what changes the whole picture in this person's mind, because before they may have thought, okay, who am I competing with? Who else is texting you? Who else wants you? Who else is trying to take you out? But now, they're realizing that might not even be the real competition. Your peace is, your independence is. The fact that you already know how to enjoy your life without forcing somebody into it, just so you can say, you're taken. And, whew, that can be intimidating, because how do you compete with somebody being genuinely comfortable on their own? You can't just show up and say, well, I'm attractive, okay? So we're probably other people. You can't just say, I have a good job. Cool, you can't just flirt harder and assume that's going to do it. Because this person is realizing you've probably turned down people who technically had plenty going for them because something was missing. Consistency, compatibility, peace, whatever it was. And for some of you, they can see that you're not sitting around acting like your life is incomplete. Because you're single. That's what's really getting them. You don't seem desperate for somebody to fill a position. So if you choose someone, you actually chose them, not the relationship status, not the attention, not just having somebody around. Them. And I think that's making this feel a lot more serious in their head, because now they're not thinking, I just need to be better than the other options. They're thinking, I need to bring something into this person's life that actually feels better than the peace they already have. And that's a much higher bar. Because suddenly, this isn't about beating another man or another woman, it's about being worth disrupting a life that already feels good. And once that clicks, a different thought starts hitting them. What if I actually lose my chance? And look at this, 3 of Wands reversed, okay? Because symbolically, the 3 of Wands can be waiting, looking ahead, seeing what's coming next. But reversed, there can be this feeling of, wait, am I waiting too long? And I feel like that's where this person's head starts going now, because they had to learn patience with you. They had to understand they couldn't rush you. They couldn't come in with all that Knight of Wands energy and expect everything to happen immediately. But now they're realising something else. Patience does not mean doing nothing. That's the difference. Because for some of you, this person may start noticing the attention around you a little more. Not necessarily in some obsessive way, okay? But they see it. Somebody compliments you. Somebody keeps liking your stuff. Somebody seems a little too happy to talk to you. Maybe somebody mentions you, and this person is sitting there like, Because suddenly it becomes real that you being single today does not mean you're going to be single forever. And I think that's what puts a little pressure on them. They're like, okay, am I actually giving this person enough to know I'm serious? Do they know I'm interested? Am I giving them space? Or am I accidentally giving somebody else room to step in? And whew, that's a very different question, because earlier this person was worried about moving too fast. Now they may be worried they're moving too slow. And here's the thing, I don't feel like this is just jealousy, it's urgency. There is a difference. Jealousy says nobody else should have you. Urgency says if I actually want this, I need to stop assuming I'll always have another opportunity, because somebody else could come along and do exactly what this person has been thinking about doing. Show up. Be consistent. Be clear. Actually pursue you. And then what? That's where the 3 of Wands reversed gets interesting, because they can't just stand at a distance forever imagining what could happen. Eventually they have to participate, and for some of you I think they're starting to realise that. They may be watching you and thinking, what would this actually look like if I stopped playing it so safe? Not just another date, not just more flirting, an actual relationship. What would it look like waking up next to you? Having you in their routine? Introducing you as their person? And that's when this starts getting deeper. Because now they're not only afraid of missing a chance to date you, they're starting to imagine what they might actually be missing. And look at this, 5 of Swords reversed. Okay, because symbolically, this can be somebody reconsidering how they handle conflict, ego, winning. Maybe even realising that some of the habits that worked in casual connections are not going to work in something real. And that gets interesting here, because once this person starts picturing you as an actual partner, they're not just imagining the fun parts anymore, they're thinking about what it would require from them. Like, okay, what happens when you disagree? What happens when you're busy? What happens when life gets stressful and flirting isn't enough to carry the connection? Could they actually communicate with you? Could they let their guard down? Could they admit when they're wrong? Because for some of you, this person might be used to relationships where if things get uncomfortable, somebody pulls away, somebody gets petty, somebody stops texting, somebody tries to have the upper hand. But with you, I don't think they can picture that working. You seem like somebody who would be like, okay, if this is what we're doing, I can just go be peaceful by myself. And they're like, oh, right, because remember, they already know you're not afraid of being single. So they can't use distance to make you chase. They can't rely on chemistry to cover up incompatibility. They can't assume you'll tolerate nonsense just because you're attracted to them. And I think that is making these thoughts about you more serious. Because they're starting to imagine everyday things now. Talking to you after a long day, having you around their friends, maybe bringing you around family, knowing how you take your coffee, what annoys you, what makes you laugh, what you do when you're stressed. Little things, not just, wow, they're fine, they're still thinking that, okay? Let's be clear. But now it's, would they fit into my actual life? And even more importantly, would I fit into theirs? Because you being attractive and successful might have confused them at first, like, why is this person alone? But now they're realizing maybe those qualities are exactly why you've been selective. You built something for yourself. You have standards for what gets added to it. And suddenly this person isn't only imagining what it would feel like to have you. They're imagining what kind of person they'd have to be to keep something healthy with you. And that's where this gets real. Because the question isn't, could I get this person? It's becoming, am I actually ready for somebody like them? And look at this, the star reversed. Okay, because symbolically, this can be that moment where somebody's confidence gets a little shaky, not because they suddenly think they're not good enough, but because now they're looking at themselves more honestly. And I feel like that's exactly what this person is doing. They're like, okay, I say I want something serious, but do my actions actually look serious? That's the question. Because for some of you, this person may be very confident when it comes to attraction. They know they can get attention, they know they can flirt, they know they can create chemistry. But maintaining something? Being consistent when it's not exciting every single day. Communicating instead of disappearing when they're irritated. Following through when they said they would. That's different, and I think you bring that difference to the surface. Not because you're perfect, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But you seem like somebody who's going to notice the gap between what somebody says and what they actually do. And this person knows that. So now they're looking at themselves like, do I have any gaps? And whew! Maybe they're thinking about their work situation, their money, their schedule, their dating habits. Maybe they know they've been inconsistent before. Maybe they're somebody who says, yeah, I want a relationship, but then behaves like somebody who still wants every option open, and they're realizing you would notice that quickly. Because they can't come to you saying, I want something real, and then only text when they're bored. They can't tell you they value communication and then disappear for 3 days. They can't talk about commitment while behaving casually and expect you not to see the contradiction. That's where that star reversed energy becomes interesting, because this isn't necessarily somebody losing confidence. It may be somebody losing the illusion that charm can cover everything, and for some of you, that's uncomfortable for them, because charm might have carried them pretty far before. But with you, they're realizing character matters more. Patterns matter more, what they repeatedly do matters more. And here's the part I actually find interesting. This self-questioning doesn't automatically make them want to run. It might be doing the opposite. Because now they're thinking, okay, if I really want this person to see me differently, I can't just say I'm different. They're starting to understand they would have to show you. And I feel like they're getting ready to do exactly that. And look at this. Judgment. Okay, because symbolically, judgment is realization. Decision. That moment where somebody stops pretending they don't know what they need to do. And I feel like that's where this person is getting. They already know talking is not enough with you. So now, they're thinking about what would actually make you believe them, not some huge speech. Not one dramatic gesture, because honestly, I don't even think that would impress you the way they think it might. Anybody can be amazing for one day. Anybody can plan one great date. Anybody can send one long paragraph at 2 in the morning talking about how much they care, okay? But what happens after that? That's what you notice. And this person is starting to understand that. So for some of you, the shift could actually look very simple. They're more consistent. They stop disappearing and popping back up whenever they feel like it. If they say they're going to call, they call. If they say, let's do something Friday, they actually make a plan instead of waiting until Friday night talking about, what you doing, okay? There's a difference. They start remembering little things you told them, something you had going on at work, something you were nervous about, something you mentioned once and didn't even think they were listening to, and then they bring it back up. How did that go? And you're like, oh. Because that's the type of thing that tells you somebody isn't just attracted to you. They're paying attention. And for some of you, this person may also start respecting your boundaries differently. Not taking it personally every time you're unavailable. Not trying to pressure you into moving faster physically or emotionally. Actually making room for you to feel comfortable. That's judgment energy to me here. They're looking at how they've approached relationships before and going, okay, if I want a different outcome, I probably can't keep doing the same thing. And here's the funny part. You may already be noticing little changes. Maybe they're reaching out more consistently. Maybe they're planning ahead. Maybe the conversations feel less surface level. Maybe they're becoming a little clearer without fully saying everything yet. And you're sitting there like, what's going on with you? Because something is changing. They're trying to remove the doubt through repetition, not promises, evidence. But here's where this gets interesting. Eventually, even consistency has a limit, because they can show you they're serious, they can make time, they can be intentional. But at some point, they're going to have to stop hoping you understand the hints. They're going to have to make it clear. And look at this, 3 of Pentacles, okay? Because symbolically, this is building something, working together, seeing whether 2 people can actually create something that has structure to it, okay? And that is where I feel like this person's mindset is going, because at some point they have to stop just showing you little signs and actually say, hey, this is what I want. Maybe not in some huge dramatic confession, but clearly enough that you don't have to guess. For some of you, this could be them asking you on a date that actually feels intentional. Not, you up? Not, what are you doing later? No. Something where you're like, oh, you planned this. For others, it could be a conversation. What are you looking for? Are you talking to anybody seriously? Where do you see this going? Because I feel like ambiguity is starting to feel riskier to this person than honesty. And that's interesting, because earlier, keeping things undefined might have felt safer. If nobody says too much, nobody can get rejected. If nobody gets too serious, nobody has to be vulnerable. But with you, that strategy could cost them the whole connection. Because you are not sitting around waiting forever for somebody to figure out whether they want you. And I think they know that. So this 3 of Pentacles feels like, okay, if I want to build with this person, I actually have to let them know I'm trying to build. Simple, but vulnerable. And here's the other thing. When this person says they're willing to wait, I don't feel like that means they're willing to sit there doing absolutely nothing. That's not waiting. That's avoidance. This feels more like, I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to rush access to you. But I am going to make sure you know I'm serious. There's a difference. They can respect your pace and still pursue you. They can give you space and still be consistent. They can let something develop naturally without acting like they don't care. And for some of you, that may be the biggest change you're about to notice in how this person approaches you. Less guessing, less vague energy. More, this is what I want. How do you feel? Because now they understand something they didn't understand in the beginning. They started out stunned that somebody like you could still be single. But the deeper they get into this, the less your singleness looks confusing. And the more it starts looking very intentional. And look at this, Knight of Pentacles. Okay, because symbolically, this is somebody who is willing to take their time, not because they don't care. Because they do. That's the difference. The Knight of Pentacles isn't usually rushing in just to create excitement and disappear later. This is more like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it properly. And I feel like that is where this person has landed with you. Because at first, their thoughts were fast. The attraction was fast. The curiosity was fast. They wanted answers immediately. Who else wants them? Why haven't they chosen somebody? But now they're starting to understand why. You weren't waiting around for somebody to pick you. You were deciding who was actually worth letting into your life. And that changes everything. because your singleness doesn't look like lack anymore. It looks like discernment. It looks like, yeah, I could have somebody if I just wanted somebody. But that's not what you want. You want the right experience, the right effort, the right consistency. And for some of you, this person is realizing that if they genuinely want a chance with you, they're going to have to respect that. Not rush you, not disappear either, just keep showing up. Knight of Pentacles. Steady, intentional, reliable. And honestly, that might be exactly why they're becoming willing to wait, because waiting for you doesn't feel like wasting time anymore. It feels like building trust. There's a difference. They may be thinking, okay, maybe I don't get everything immediately. Maybe this person needs to see that I'm serious over time. And instead of that turning them off, it may actually make them more serious. Because now they know that if you eventually choose them, it isn't because you were lonely, it isn't because you needed attention, it isn't because they pressured you until you gave in. You chose them because something about what they consistently brought into your life made you say, yeah, this is worth opening up to. And whew, I think that's what they want now. Not just access, not just attraction. To actually be chosen by somebody they know doesn't choose everybody. And that's probably the part they never understood in the beginning. They were looking at you like, how has nobody locked this down? But now they're realizing that's not even the question. Plenty of people may have tried. You just weren't looking for somebody to choose you. You've been the one doing the choosing the entire time.